Happy Sunday, KHOU 11 meteorologist Kim Castro based out of Houston, Texas. It is Sunday, August 27th, and we're talking about Tropical Depression 10 developing into Idalia, the next named storm system, here very shortly. This is where it's at right now. It is not seeing much movement whatsoever. In fact, right now, southeast at 5 miles an hour, pretty stationary, winds at 35 miles an hour. And this morning, you could see it's definitely expanding its convective field and still developing at quite a healthy pace. First shots of visible satellite imagery this morning show again some overshooting cloud tops, some good bubbling convection along the south side of the system, and then on the north side, good fanning with those cirrus clouds. Clockwise flow there, counterclockwise at the surface, what you would see in a tropical system development. Now, something else we'll keep monitoring here is the moisture source. So right now, it's got abundant moisture where it's sitting, where it's developing. However, a little bit further towards the north, you'll notice there's some drier air there, and that could potentially start to get entrained, wrapped up in the storm system here in the short term. Just depends how long it hangs out here before it just takes off and grabs hold of very favorable conditions just to the north of it. But right now there is this ridging of high pressure and some drier air there that could potentially start to get wrapped up in there and just stunt its development in the short term. But it's definitely starting to build in quickly, and once it breaks through that Yucatan channel, it'll start to move to the eastern Gulf, and look at what it has to work with. All of the conditions it needs. Low wind shear, very warm water. It just needs 80-degree sea surface temperatures, and we've got close to 90-degree sea surface temperatures at a depth. And so it'll definitely have very favorable development potential as we go into the coming week. Right now, it is at tropical depression status. Those winds below 40 miles an hour, 35 right now. And so we will continue to watch it carefully, but it's definitely looking likely that it'll become Idalia here very, very soon. Where will it track once it breaks free from the Caribbean? Well, it's going to be steered very heavily by the upper air pattern. So right now we are watching this trough in the western Gulf. So this is going to nudge Idalia either to the north or to the northeast, and that's something we'll have to monitor once the system actually develops, and especially once it breaks free from the Caribbean, to see the exact motion and even the exact intensity. Because if it breaks free a little bit sooner, models are hinting that this could be a system that develops a bit more aggressively. Right now, National Hurricane Center is putting it at a Category 1 hurricane by Tuesday afternoon. So that's a snapshot Tuesday 1 o'clock, 85-mile-an-hour winds. And it could make landfall as a Cat 1 as we head into the middle of the week between Panama City and Tampa. That is the cone of uncertainty right now for the National Hurricane Center. However, the models, this is the European, show the potential tightening of these isobars, the pressure gradient, that could maybe exceed the threshold for the Cat 1 hurricane status that it's currently being projected to take on. So that's a snapshot at 11:30 Wednesday morning, very in line with the National Hurricane Center forecast there. Now I'll show you the other computer model, the American, the GFS. This is what it has in store. So it breaks free from the Caribbean sometime on Monday, and then look how tightly wound this American model has for Idalia as it starts to trek towards land by Wednesday late morning. So 11:30, I mean, this has the intensity that would be a major hurricane. So we have to watch it closely. This again is just a simulation based on a lot of missing variables, but there is the potential for this system to develop quickly because it's unscathed in this area. Once it gets here, if it just lingers a little bit longer in this vicinity, if it gets stalled out there for a minute, it could really start to build some legs and gain some intensity. So for the time being, the projection is a Cat 1, but keep up with the forecast because things could change. Things could certainly change with the direction of the storm as well. Right now, spaghetti plot models favoring what the forecast cone has right now. So Panama City to Tampa, mostly the Panhandle and along the west coast of Florida, but you know, the system could deviate towards South Florida as well, and a couple of spaghetti plots have it going towards Mississippi, perhaps Mobile, Alabama. So really the central Gulf Coast all the way to any portion of Florida should be watching this very carefully because there's that trough right here that will steer the system away from the western portion of the Gulf. But central and eastern Gulf definitely having to keep a close eye on not just the intensity, but the direction that the storm might go. But it is looking very favorable to go north, perhaps northeast at the present time. And the impacts are going to be felt far beyond Florida. In fact, as the system continues its track towards the northeast, we're talking about heavy rain potential for Georgia as well as the Carolinas. So this is going to be a system to watch for landfall intensity as far as a soaker because of all of the moisture it's looking to scoop up in the Gulf. Again, we have to keep a close eye once this system develops into the next named storm. That's when we'll have a better understanding as to how it's expected to intensify and where it's expected to move at what time frame. All these variables are going to impact landfall location and intensity. So definitely check back in with us throughout the day, throughout this coming week. We will have better updates and more understanding on the storm system as it continues to develop. If you do have any questions, in the meantime, I am on social media in these platforms, Twitter, Instagram, as well as Facebook. So just reach out to me there, Kim Castro Weather, Kim Castro KHOU, and I'll be happy to answer any of your questions.